Alright, this video is going to be a rant, so buckle up. In early August of this year, I got an email from my music distributor, Sounddrop, that said, "Hi, we got your request to take down your album, The Harp Corner, from Spotify. We're on it." The only thing is, I never requested for it to be taken down. So first things first, what is a distributor? Musicians don't just upload their music directly to Spotify or Apple Music or any other streaming services. They have to go through a distributor, which then sends it out to streaming services. And distributors usually take a cut either in the form of a flat fee per release or a yearly fee to keep your music up, or a percentage of your royalties, or sometimes a combination of each. I've used the distributor Sounddrop for the Harp Corner Volumes 1 to 4, my collections of harp covers. Now, I've had issues with customer service in the past. I've had some tickets that weren't answered for over a year, and a lot of people on social media have been complaining about the same thing. Sounddrop continues to operate, their website is still up, they keep taking payments, and I think they're still distributing new music, but it's essentially a ghost town when it comes to any sort of human interaction. So when Sounddrop announced to me that they had taken down my most popular album from Spotify, I freaked out a little bit. I wrote to their customer support multiple times, their AI chatbot was completely useless, and any email that I sent to them outside of the chatbot ended up in a delivery failure. And I know I'm not the only person to have had my album taken down at my own request, only to have to pay to re-upload it. Right around the same time, Sounddrop announced a price increase. Well. So I chose a different distributor to re-upload the Harp Corner. I went with CD Baby, which also distributed my album Timescape, which is all original music. Go check it out. So this whole saga leads to a loss of revenue. Obviously, there's the revenue from streaming that is missing because the album is gone. It's not a lot, admittedly. There's also having to pay for distribution a second time. And it can lead to long-term loss of revenue because when the album is put back up, I don't know if the stats will stay the same. I don't know if it'll still have its placement within playlists or if it'll still have the same algorithmic traction. Luckily, I have other income sources like YouTube, Patreon, and Bandcamp. But beyond income, having your music taken down from streaming services can be catastrophic. Like it or not, nowadays, Spotify is a major metric of success and credibility. Spotify is one of the only streaming platforms where streaming statistics and monthly listeners are publicly available. It's something that promoters or bookers or agents or even fans will look at to gauge the popularity of a musician. For example, my most popular album got taken down, and I can no longer point to these streams that show that I'm actually being listened to, and my monthly listeners is now a fraction of what it used to be. And even if I re-upload the album, I don't know if it's really going to be able to bounce back. Sounddrop isn't the only distributor with issues. A lot of musicians have trouble getting adequate customer service either from distributors or streaming services. A classic issue is that some musicians get their music placed on artificial or bot playlists, where streams are artificially generated, and have their music taken down as a result. The way these bot playlists operate is that they entice musicians to pay for placement on these playlists in order to generate streams. But a lot of musicians who have never paid a penny end up on these playlists anyway through no fault of their own, and sometimes don't even realize they're there until it's too late and their music gets taken down. It's the distributor that takes the music down when Spotify raises a flag. Bigger artists don't really have this issue because, first of all, they're not targeted by bot playlists in the same way, but also they have enough legitimate streams to balance out the artificial ones. So really, it's the small artists that suffer. And artists have very little recourse in cases like this. They can try to re-upload their music, but they can't really contest it. It's only in 2024 that Spotify added a feature that allows users to report suspicious playlists. But really, the onus should be on Spotify to monitor illegitimate activity. In a lot of cases, artists don't know they're being botted, or they only realize when it's too late. If anything, it just shifts the blame from Spotify to the artist by saying, well, if you didn't want your music taken down, you should have reported it. There's this feeling in the music community that neither distributors nor streaming services really have our backs, and so musicians are left alone against these faceless companies that we rely on. We pander to the algorithm that we don't really understand because we depend on it. It's the reason that we get heard or discovered, or not at all. More and more artists are boycotting Spotify for various reasons, including low payouts, Spotify's indifference towards AI music, and of course the CEO investing in AI military tech. Joni Mitchell and Neil Young have famously taken their music off of Spotify, although they put it back later on. But they're fine. Neil Young is still going to be listened to, and we all still know who Joni Mitchell is, even if she doesn't show up in your Discovery playlist. But it's not feasible for everyone. Spotify has such a huge market share that if your music isn't on there, you're cutting out a key part of your potential audience. So, how can you actually support artists? Cutting out the middleman isn't always possible, but I find there's some platforms that offer a bit more transparency and control to artists. I've had good experiences with Patreon, which is a membership subscription, and Bandcamp, which is for music and merch sales. Buying music as opposed to streaming is pretty much always preferable. And even for you as an audience, you're also at the mercy of Spotify pulling your favorite album or Netflix taking off your favorite show. Step in the right direction is to try to reduce our dependency on these corporations that have so much control over our art. Some cases it's easier to avoid than others, and for musicians it's really tough to break away from industry titans like Spotify. So, for musicians watching this, if you have any rants about distributors or streaming services, I would love to hear them. It will be very cathartic while I wait for my album to be back up. And as always, thank you so much to everyone on Patreon. Your support means the world to me, and you keep this channel alive, so thank you. Especially now. Take care.